We are off for round 4 of Southern XC, and when I say this was a savage course and a savage start, I am not joking. The start of this race was so full gas. I think I'd done like 560 watts or something average for the first minute. It was full gas and you just had to go with it, because at the top of this 1 minute drag to the top there was a pinch point. But oh my god, so in this race we have the elites, juniors and experts all going off at once, and it was full on. Look, I've let the wheel go a little bit and I am already nearly maxing out my heart rate. This was honestly eyes jumping out of their head, breathing out your backside from minute 1. But as I said, the start of this race literally drags right up this climb all the way to the top corner, and then it goes into a dual slalom section. So you can see the pace has eased a bit here because everyone's giving it their beans, but then everyone realises you need to get into this slalom section, so everyone starts sprinting. I take the right line because everyone, that seemed like the better line, but in actual fact, where no one took the left line, you'll see a couple of people that were behind me managed to move up ahead, and this was the pinch point, because when we got down to the bottom of here, someone does acrobatics and goes over the handlebars. I think it's the white link rider there. You can't park there, sir. Goes tumbling down the hill, and then we're all doing the truffle shuffle. Look, no one can get going. The front of the race has officially gone, and that is why sometimes you've just got to go a little bit deeper than you want to off the start line, burn a match, because if you get held up in a move like that where someone's crashed and then you're all shuffling along to try and get going again, you've lost the front group, and in that front group was the winner of my race. Now, I wasn't expecting to win this race, but you do go to all of these events. I go to all these events anyway to give it beans and try and actually win. That's just how I am. I don't want to go there. I'm not racing to come like 4th. If I blow my biscuit and come 4th in the end, so be it. But I am trying to win. And I took this rock garden terribly. Look at that, absolute grandad mode. I wasn't hitting it with enough speed, and that is just pure confidence. I've really always struggled with rock gardens because I know that if I crash, it's going to hurt. Whereas if you crash on the grass, not so much. But you saw the gap those boys in front of me put into me. But actually in the expert race now, I'm sitting in 2nd place, and I had Mark on my wheel. He was the rider in the green kit that I passed a second ago. And also George was behind me. So in all honesty, it wasn't too shabby a start. We got caught behind that little crash which let a few gaps open, and definitely a few matches got burnt. But the main thing about this course is if you haven't got the power and the power to weight up the climbs, you're really going to struggle. The climbs don't look like much, but it's absolutely relentless. You can see the gap. It's not huge to these riders in front, but they are all juniors, but I just couldn't shut it down. This was one of the main climbs that you come back out of this wooded section and then into the rock garden. And by the time I got to the top of this climb, that group in front were gone, and it was a case of now settling into a pace that I thought I could hold. This was the 2nd rock garden, yet again. Poor show from me. It was slow, it was grandad mode. You've got to be confident on rock gardens, and you've got to just hit them with speed. And then this climb here is where it all started to fall to pieces for me. The boys were just too strong. Just here on the right or left, I think I get overtaken, and that was me dropping back then into 3rd place. And I was saying to myself, you've got to go with that move. You've got to go with that if you want to try and be on the podium. But as soon as we come out of this bottom section, your boy did not have the power to go with it, unfortunately. And you can see heart rate's already really high, and I really struggle in the heat. Everything is so much harder in the heat for me, but everyone's in that situation, so what can you do? And I did keep trying to push on, and I closed the gap down because of the Ignite rider who come round me here. Absolute steam train. I jumped on his wheel, and you can see we've almost shut the gap back down to Mark in the green kit. Thanks for that absolutely legendary tow. But as soon as I come out of this next corner, I got dispatched again, and I was like saying to myself, next rider that comes past is going to be George. one of the riders in my race, and if he passes, I'm then off the podium. So I'm thinking as soon as he comes past, I've just got to latch onto it and try my best to go with it. And he never starts well, but he's super strong. Look at the power the boy's got. So I jumped on his wheel, and I'm thinking now, this is going to tow me back onto that group. But every time we come out of one of the little hairpins, he just accelerated to shut the gap down in front, and it was absolutely wrecking my legs. So you'll see, we come out of this, and then he gets out of the saddle, accelerates to shut down the gap, like 700 watts, just putting dents in my legs right now. And we were, what, 7.5 minutes in, and he moved straight up past the Ignite rider to get on Mark's wheel. And this is when I knew now I needed to try and stay with this group as long as I could, because this was the podium battle. The front of the race had absolutely gone. Adam got in ahead of that crash, like I said, and he was with a couple of the elite boys, I think. So it was signed, sealed, delivered. He had won the race, because he was way ahead at this point. But the boys were absolutely turning the screw on me. You can see George has moved up into second place, and he is just ripping it up this climb now. And every corner I was just saying to myself, you've got to punch, you've got to go with it, punch, go with it. And then eventually, just here, the elastic snapped. We went past pits. Del Boy was like, just jump on a wheel, hold the wheel, and I couldn't do it. The legs went ping, didn't have the power to go with them. That gap opens up, but then I did get like a second wind, shut it down to them, and you can see I'm back in the battle for second, third and fourth now. And as we come down here, this is when I lose the wheel again. Unfortunately, I felt like I was being held up down this zigzag bit, but as soon as we come out onto the next section, the boys just accelerated again. And that was the case. Every time they got a chance to get on the pedals and whack it, they were going for it. And I stupidly let the gap open up a little bit here. I was just being a little bit lazy. You know, when it's hurting from the last drag, you can see yourself letting the wheel go, and you're like, you do not need this right now. Do not let the wheel go like this. And I did, and that was a schoolboy error, because then I burn a match here to try and close that gap down, 600 plus watts, whereas if I just stayed on the power along that bottom bit, I wouldn't have had to do this massive 600 watt surge to get back on the wheel. That was just a terrible, terrible mistake from me. And then to compound that mistake, we're coming back into the rock garden. I'd hit it like a chopper on the first lap, and I hit it like a chopper again. And look, just slow, no speed into it. The gap opens up again, and this time I didn't have the legs to shut it down. And it was just a case of now absolute survival mode. There was only 6 people in our race, so I'm now in fourth. I'm bottom half basically, but you could see the gap wasn't huge as we were going around these corners. They were just there. But you know when you're like saying to yourself, one last effort, and you'll get back on. I just didn't have that effort. And then Adrian from Pedalon come past when we went past pits, and Del Boy was like, jump on that, he will shut it down. And I jumped on his back wheel for all of about a blink of an eye, and then he dispatched me. The next vet boys come past, didn't even get on their wheel, they dispatched me, and I was having absolute nightmares. And then finally, I get on a wheel and I'm like, right, I'm gonna get dragged up here. Destination bike coming in to save me, and I actually got into a bit of a rhythm, got on the wheel, and I was getting dragged. I got dragged all the way up to the top, down this zigzag section, and I was thinking, actually, I'm feeling a bit better now. And then my race goes from bad to worse, because Georgie boy goes off this little drop, gets it horribly wrong in this bit here. Boing! You can't park there, and then to top it off, I get stuck in the tape. Look at my foot. I was stuck in the tape. I had to rip the tape to get going again. Lost a couple more places, and it was an absolute nightmare, to be honest. But I managed to pull myself together, hold on to the end of the race, and come away with 4th place. The boys were absolutely flying on this course. It was savage, but you know what? I've done my best, gave it some beans, and come away with 4th. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.